Okay, good morning. I am Arun Kumar Singh, Star Formation Group, going to present a pedagogical video lecture on stellar structure, one of the topic of Ayuka refresher course by Dipankar Bhattacharya sir. My group members are Ayushi Verma, Arun Kumar Singh, Deepa S, Muhammad Rabiul Islam, and Rakhi R. Name of the presenters are who are going to present these lectures are Deepa S, Rakhi R, Arun Kumar Singh, and Muhammad Rabiul Islam. uh, we are going to follow the contents having introduction, HR diagram and nuclear fusion reaction rate, hydrostatic equilibrium, mass luminosity relations, degeneracy pressure, neutron star, Chandrasekhar limit, and followed by acknowledgement and references. So let us start with introduction. Stellar structure is the internal structure of stars which gives information about luminosity, color, and future evolutions of the star. So internal structure is different for different classes and ages of stars having different energy transport mechanism. So this figure shows the cross section of sun having main four layers. A core at the center is more dense and hotter. Next is the radiative zone, which is a thicker thicker layer, and after that there is a thinner layer called convective zones, and the whole layers are covered by a spherical layer which is called photosphere, which emits radiations in form of light. So different layers of the stars transport heat up and outward in different ways. They follow convection and radiative transfer, but thermal conduction is important in white dwarf. The internal structure of main sequence stars depend upon the mass of stars. So in massive stars greater than 1.5 solar mass, the core temperature is about 1.8 into 10 to 7 Kelvin. So hydrogen to helium fusion occupies primarily via the CNO cycle. So this figure shows the different transport mechanism of low mass, intermediate mass, and high mass stars. So low mass have radiative cores, high mass have convective cores, and a fundamental difference in the structure of low mass and high mass stars are low mass stars implies radiative core, convective envelopes, and the high mass stars implies convective cores, radiative envelopes. Next is Hertz-Sprung-Russell's diagram. So Hertz-HR diagram is the main tool in the study of stellar evolution. It plots the temperature of a star against their luminosity or color of stars against their absolute magnitude. And this is also known as color magnitude diagram. The main sequence is stretching from upper left to bottom right. That is hot luminous stars to cool fainter stars. And the red giant and supergiant occupy the region above the main sequence. The white dwarfs stars are the final evolutionary stage of low to intermediate mass stars and are found in bottom left. So next is nuclear fusion in stars. So nuclear fusion provides balances. The nuclear fusion reaction rate in stars describe that the universe is changing in one direction, that is from hydrogen to helium. So the question arises is a more massive star has a higher or lower central temperature. So answer is higher, of course, because this was due to hydrostatic equilibrium. A higher central temperature means the proton-proton rate is higher and more energy is released. This means a larger luminosity. So for stars on the main sequence, more massive stars means a higher luminosity stars. So this explains why the main sequence exhibits a luminosity temperature relations and why as we move to higher temperature and luminosity along the main sequence, you are also moving along main sequence. So this figure shows that as we move toward higher temperature, we are moving toward higher luminosity. It means that we are moving toward the mass sequence. Next is hydrostatic equilibrium. So equilibrium is stable if small perturbations are damped and unstable if they are amplified. The cloud is unstable if it is either very massive at a given temperature or very cool at given mass for gravity to overcome the gas pressure. This is known as the law of hydrostatic equilibrium. So when stars are in hydrostatic equilibrium, they will either expand or contract. So first figure in this slide, it shows that gravity compression is balanced by pressure outward during hydrostatic equilibrium. And the another diagram in the middle, it shows greater gravity compresses the gas, making it denser and hotter. So the outward pressure increases. Next figure, which is the last one, which shows deeper layers have more gravity compression. So they have greater outward pressure to compensate. So in the next slide, we have tried to find the pressure gradient, which is balancing the gravity. So this is find out by this equation shown below, which is pressure gradient in the box. And this is equation of hydrostatic equilibrium, shows how the pressure in the sun changes to balance gravitational collapse. So next we are going to stability of stars. So pressure greater than gravity implies that cloud expands and get bigger, and pressure less than gravity, that implies cloud contracts, gets smaller. And if pressure is equal to gravity, it implies that cloud stays the same size, hydrostatic equilibrium. Now I call Dr. Rakhi R to continue the lecture.
Okay, fine. Yeah, in the previous section, we have seen the variation of luminosity with temperature through HR diagram. Now we are going to talk on absolute luminosity and focus on mass luminosity relation of stars. We know that the absolute luminosity of a star is basically a measure of how bright it is and how much energy it pulls out in all electromagnetic spectra. The mass luminosity relation is an approximate relation between the mass and the absolute luminosity of the main sequence stars, and this is predicted by Eddington in 1924. And this mass luminosity relation states that the absolute luminosity of a star is proportional to its mass to the power n, where n averages about 3 for bright massive stars and about 4 for sun-type stars and about 2.5 for dim red star for low mass. And this relation holds for main sequence stars, which all have a similar chemical composition and have similar internal structures and nuclear power sources. But it is not obeyed by white dwarf, which is a degenerate matter, and or it's not obeyed by red giants. So this picture shows the relationship of luminosity, absolute luminosity against the mass of the star. And from the HR diagram, we know that the hotter the star is, the more luminous it is. And now it's also true that the hot and luminous star is more massive too. That is, the low mass main sequence stars tend to be cooler and dimmer, and the high mass main sequence stars tend to be hotter and brighter. And for the main sequence stars, the absolute luminosity is proportional to the mass to the power of 3.5, which means that for the star having 10 times the mass of the sun, its luminosity will be approximately 3000 times the mass of the sun. This means that the modest increase in stellar mass leads to the strong increase in temperature and pressure in the core. Since the rate of nuclear reaction depends sensitively on the temperature, the rate of fusion and energy release goes up sharply with the increase in mass. So this picture shows the luminosity mass variation for the main sequence stars. Main sequence stars, we know that the one which are still alive, they have not reached its death. So when the mass luminosity relation is carefully analyzed, several important features are revealed. Only the main sequence stars are found to conform to this law, and the evolved stars such as red giants and white dwarfs deviate from the law. It's found that the brighter the stars, the more massive it is among the main sequence stars. And the significance of this mass luminosity relation is that it can be used to calculate the distance to binary systems of unknown distances whose components are main sequence stars. So now I'll request Dr. Abul Islam sir to present.
So, I will discuss about degeneracy pressure. This is a new type of pressure. Its origin is quantum mechanical. This pressure is independent of temperature. So, even at low temperature, this degeneracy pressure can act. Fermions having half integral spin and moving Fermi statistics and Pauli's exclusion principle undergo such degeneracy pressure. Astronomical compact objects like white dwarf, neutron stars are held stable by degeneracy pressure. Now derivation. In these two pictures, it is shown that the six-dimensional phase space, three momentum space and three position space is divided by small quantum cells of volume HQ. This follows from uncertainty principle. Each cell contains two electrons at most, one up spin and one down spin. If we confine ourselves to a finite volume, then smaller the volume, higher the maximum momentum for fixed number of electrons. In the upper figure, the space is longer, and the lower figures, the space is shorter, so it highest momentum is greater. Now, a certain derivation for the pressure is like this. The volume density of particles, and if Pf be the maximum momentum, then this has the relation 4 pi by 3 pi Pf cube by h cube equal to n by 2, from which Pf can be written as varies as n to the power 1/3. Now we know pressure equal to momentum flux, so n into V into Pf. Now V varies as P by M, so pressure varies as n to the power 5 by 3. Now, for a relativistic case where V tends to velocity of light, pressure varies as n to the power 4 by 3. Now, electron degeneracy for electron degeneracy system, the electron density is related to the mass density rho by n equals to rho by mu mp. So, from where degeneracy pressure varies as rho to the power 5 by 3 for non-relativistic case and rho to the power 4 by 3 for relativistic case. Now, in this picture, in this graph, plot of log p versus log rho is done. For we see that by the deep blue lines. In the same plot, in the same graph, we have plotted log p versus log rho, considering gravity, and considering the thermodynamic case, log rho versus log P has been plotted for three different temperatures. From the figure, it is seen that a star of mass m1 will not end up as a main sequence star because it is not entering to the T2 temperature, which is the hydrogen burning temperature. However, a star of mass less than the critical mass will enter into the main sequence phase. It will remain there, and eventually it will be wiped off, held together by the degeneracy pressure. If mass is greater than the critical mass, then the star enters into main sequence phase, but it can't be halted by the electron degeneracy pressure, and it may end up to neutron star. Now I request S. Deepa ma'am to present her.
Good morning all. Today, as a continuation of our video, I am going to present before you the topic neutron star. A neutron star is the collapsed core of a massive supergiant star which has a total mass between 1.4 to 3 solar masses. Being probably one of the most exotic objects in the universe, they exhibit extreme and quite unique properties both in their macrophysics and microphysics. Now, before going into the formation of a neutron star, let us have a look at Chandrasekhar limit, the very collapse of a white dwarf and the beginning of a neutron star. We have seen in the previous session, Rabiul Islam sir told about the equation of state for degeneracy pressure. And it is given as P degeneracy proportional to rho raised to 5/3 in non-relativistic case. Now, the equilibrium condition requires the degeneracy pressure should be equal to Gm raised to 2/3 rho raised to 4/3. So, when we equate the two, we get a relation in which the radius is proportional to mass raised to minus 1/3. That is, radius inversely proportional to mass. That is, if we pile more and more matter to a white dwarf, its radius decreases and it becomes more dense. That may pass on to the relativistic case because the central density may exceed 10⁶ gram per centimeter cube. Now we have to apply the degeneracy pressure in case of relativistic case, and when we equate the degeneracy pressure of relativistic case to the equilibrium condition, we will get m proportional to some fundamental constants. So when we put the values of these constants, we get m equal to 5.76 mass of sun into mu e raised to minus 2. Now, in the case of a white dwarf, the main content is helium and heavier elements for which mu e, that is mean atomic weight per electron, is approximately 2. Then we substitute this value, we get the mass equal to 1.44 times mass of sun. This is the maximum possible mass limit of a white dwarf and is called as Chandrasekhar limit. Now, Chandrasekhar has depicted this in his papers in 1931 and 35. Here in the left side, you can see the equation of state. And the equation of state changes from the non-relativistic case to relativistic case, not drastically. It's a continuous change. And the Chandrasekhar limit goes as a tangent to the equation of state. Now, in the right side, you can see the radius mass relation, where radius and masses are normalized here. And as the mass of the white dwarf increases, you can see the radius slowly decreases. And when the mass reaches 1.4 times solar mass, that is this point, the white dwarf slowly collapses. This is the beginning of a neutron star. Now, let me say something about the neutron star. A star having a core mass greater than 1.44 times mass of the sun continue to condense further and further. And the electron Fermi momentum may rise. And as a result, the kinetic energy may also rise. And in this situation, proton and electron combine to form a neutron. Neutrons are Fermi-Dirac statistics obeying particles having half integral spin. They can provide a degeneracy pressure, that is neutron degeneracy pressure, that may not be sufficient to maintain equilibrium. But here, one other thing plays a part. When the density increases, the particles come closer and closer, and the interparticle separation may reach below 1 Fermi. Here, the repulsive strong interaction starts, which adds up to the neutron degeneracy pressure to maintain the equilibrium. So, the neutron degeneracy pressure, together with this repulsive strong interaction, provide the necessary support to maintain the equilibrium. But this is possible only up to 2 to 3 solar masses. When the mass exceeds this limit, that black hole may, the neutron white dwarf may collapse into a black hole. Now, at equilibrium of the neutron star, greater than 90% of neutrons and the remaining 10% is protons and electrons. And the number density is of the order of 10⁻³ centimeter cube. And the mass density is about 10 to 15 gram per centimeter cube. And the internucleon distance is of the order of 1 Fermi. If R equal to 10 kilometer and mass equal to 1.5 solar mass, interior density will be greater than that of an atomic nucleus, that much dense. Now coming on to the exotic properties of neutron star, very high density and surface gravity are the features of neutron star. They exhibit exotic properties as a result of this. They spin very fast. Fastest one has a speed of about 1 millisecond, that is 700 times faster than a second. And they exhibit very strong magnetic field of the order of 10⁸ to 10⁸ gauss. That is, usually they are expressed in Chara-Gauss. With fast spin and strong magnetic field, they emit strong beamed electromagnetic radiation, which gives rise to pulsars and magnetars. And again, when an external object falls on the surface of a neutron star, that object may be heated up and the material can accrete other materials from the nearby binaries, and they can produce X-ray emission, showing X-ray binaries in the star. Now coming on to the surface features of a neutron star, here you can see the cross-sectional view in two ways. At the very surface, heavy nuclei are present. Now when we go slightly inside, nuclei become more and more neutron rich. Again going inside, nuclei gets converted to free neutrons. We can see a sea of neutrons with some nuclei embedded in it. And at the innermost, all nuclei dissolve, only neutrons, protons, and electrons will remain. The neutrons may be acting as superfluids and the protons may be acting as superconductors, and the electrons are there to maintain the charge neutrality. Now at the interior of the core of the neutron star, density keeps on increasing, and the present knowledge of physics only speculates about the nature of matter in the interior. And the maximum mass has different value, which drives uncertainty in the equation of state as well as the mass radius relation. Now coming on to the end of our pedagogical video session, most of the topics covered here are taken from Sri Deepankar Bhattacharya's lecture in the refresher course. We, the group staff formation, would like to thank the organizers of the refresher course at IUCAA for providing us with all the supports and opportunities to update our knowledge in both experimental and theoretical ways. Now, these are the references I used in this video, and thank you.
Okay.